Let's start our class with a quiet time. This is Wednesday night channeling, class number 161. Let's close our eyes, take a deep breath, and feel ourselves turning loose through the physical world. And in our minds, let us reach upward to the higher levels of divine love and light. Let us think of this circle of light as a circle of power that generates divine love and spreads it all over this planet and moves out to the whole universe. Let us think of ourselves as coming together in the physical, in spirit, bringing our physical to this moment and to this place, but in spiritual consciousness. Thank you, Father. Tonight I wanted to draw your attention to this one book. How many have this? To hear the angels sing. It's, tell me the name of the place. You remember it, Andy? Finhorn Gardens, yes. And it started, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, didn't it? And some time ago, few people were destitute and lived in a trailer on a garbage dump. And they started a garden.
That one, and it was nothing was supposed to grow there.
Well, it did, though, and it grew very large. Yeah, and she, the people there get in touch with the divas that give life force to the plants. And in the back of the book, though, she talks about contact with humans. And I want to read a little bit of it. She's writing about these divas perhaps have never been human and perhaps never will be. I'm not sure about that. But she wanted to talk to them about their relationships with humans. Says, you cannot bring weights into our world. You cannot come to us unless you are free, childlike and light, compared to the usual human murkiness. Ours is indeed a wonderful world. Yet if you choose, you can live your everyday life in the very same attitude that you bring to us. And when she goes to them, she goes to her higher self before she tunes in with them. You know that you have to drop your burdens to contact us, and therefore you know that you can do it. You say, why not do it all the time? We say, why not do it all the time? It seems strange to keep on the old way when freedom is yours any time you choose. You love the feel of our life. Why do you not live it more often? And then she talks about determined and goes out working in the garden until one of the younger people come along with their radio full blast on with rock music, and then she plummets, she says, and they say, our consciousness is bigger than that of human, because although we deal with matter as much as you do, we could not cut ourselves off from the divine source of power. You humans cut yourself off from the same source by your thoughts. You have greater power than we have, but also greater limitations, which is kind of interesting, I thought. We are not imprisoned by the lower form. You need not be, and you will not be when you identify with that source. And it goes on, and the whole book is interesting, especially the latter part of it, I think.
Still big.
Well, I recommend it, really. Through her contact with the divas, they were able to grow food and keep themselves alive. And now it's a huge place with a lot of people coming. It's in what country? Scotland, yeah. Our class tonight is the master talking, and the title is called Love and Bloom. And I was thinking about that. I think that's a title of a song a long time ago. Anyway, he says, love is the essence of life, the foundation and substance of the life force. Divine love is in and through the very existence of all that is. Love, life, and God are one. You are love. You are light. You are life eternal. Therefore, you and God are one. You are a unique individual expression of the life of all life that brought you into being. The bloom of love is loving unconditionally. The returns of love is the joy of loving. For as love is expressed through you, you are the instrument that God uses to manifest his being. No greater joy than to willingly be the channel for God's being to shine in all his glory. His tender, gentle love expressed through his creation, shining this most valuable force, multiplies it many times and returns to go out again and again. You, my dear ones, have the choice to be this channel every moment. As you learn to identify with the purity, the essence of your being, divine love, then the Father's love flows through you as a huge fountain or waterfalls, as your Niagara, flowing out to the life of all life, the allness of your being, the oneness that you are with all that is. My little ones, I come to you in divine love this evening to share with you the beauty and the glory of the Father's love. The Father's love is in and through all creation, and all that you experience with your five senses on your plane is created from the substance of love. You as individuals, having free will, have the choice to create distortion or purity. In this sentence, I would like to speak to you this evening and ask you to consider thinking what you are doing as you go through your day. Are you creating distortion with your thoughts? Or are you creating the purity of God's love and His being that goes out and has an effect on all creation around you? When you are negative and fearful, you are creating distortion, as you've been told. When you are loving, when you are thinking in a positive and constructive way, then you are being as God is. You are being His image that you are created in. As you came down from the Godhead, the Garden of Eden, as you moved through many dimensions to experience and to gain understanding and wisdom, you have learned many things that are not in your conscious awareness at this moment. For when you come into a lifetime, you shut off much of your understanding that you have had at other times, so that you will have opportunities to have growth, spiritual growth, through experience. This may seem to you not fair, but you, my dear ones, have chosen it. You have chosen to be that individual expression of God in all of its purest form, to learn to do this on any and all dimensions. And as you go through these experiences in this plane of illusion, on this stage called Earth, remember that it is just a play, and that to not give so much importance to that which seems to be not loving, which seems to you to be not good or evil. In all of life, there is God. For in true reality, my dear ones, God is the substance, and God's love is the substance of all that is. You have the choice to use this life force, this power, to create as you will, and to be the channel through your thoughts for distortion of life or purity of life. As you think about this, think about your habit patterns as you've been taught. Realize that you do many things unconsciously, that if you stop to think about it and to make a choice, you would always choose to think loving thoughts, feelings, moods, and attitudes. For you, this is your nature. You are a divine being. And when you realize this, when you make it real in your understanding, then will you manifest fully the Father's beauty and glory and His love, and be a light unto the world. This does not mean that you go out and preach and all of this, but it means that you become an example. For as you live your life, as you express your living on this plane, others do see and know. They feel the vibrations that come from you. Sometimes they are vibrations of fear. Sometimes they are vibrations of anger. And other times they're vibrations of love and beauty and joy. I tell you, choose the latter, for love is the essence of life. And as you love, truly love, unconditionally, without thought of return, you are manifesting God in the physical. This may seem more than you can handle in your thoughts, but it is true, for this is your purpose in being, is to manifest the perfection that God is. And the play that goes on your stage called Earth is an opportunity for you to have experiences of all kinds and to learn to choose the loving and beauty and the joy that the true reality of life is. Your true nature is divine. It dwells within you, not somewhere else on some other dimension, but within you. You, my dear ones, are of all dimensions, for you are one with all life, everywhere present in the whole of the universe. When you can understand this, and when you can grasp the truth that you need not cut off your lifeline to the source that is God, then can you express his joy and his love at all times. This is your goal in being here on this plane. This is your goal in coming out of the Godhead, leaving the Garden of Eden that you did long, long ago and came down through many dimensions as you think of them, and now are returning back home. When you can think of this and understand that God never condemns you in any way, he only loves you. You are taught sometimes in your churches that God is a God of vengeance. This is not true in any way. God is love, and his being is love. You are made in the image and likeness of God. So in true reality, my dear ones, you are love, divine love, unconditional love. When you can think of yourself in this way, then you are thinking truth. When you think of yourself in other ways, in ways that are distorted with fear and doubt and all the other negatives, then you are thinking distortion. As you learn to identify your thoughts and know what you're doing at the moment, then can you eliminate the distorted thoughts. Then can you be loving in your thoughts, your feelings, your moods, your attitudes. as you move higher in consciousness through the practice of manifesting the beauty and the glory of your Creator that is at the center of your being, then do you experience the joy, the peace, the elation that so many seek when they take drugs or drink alcohol or try to find this in another individual. I tell you, my dear ones, when you learn to reach within, then do you find the beauty and the joy that is God. When you desire to be fulfilled in your being and reach out in this world of illusion, you are always disappointed, for it will fail you. And the saying, "Trust not in the arm of flesh," meant just this: trust in the Spirit of God's love, and let it be in your thoughts, in your mind, in your words, and in your actions. For it is through this that you learn to manifest the true reality of your being, to manifest God in all that you see, all that you hear, all that you do. It is a beautiful, wonderful existence on the higher dimensions of life. And when you learn to go through your experience on this plane, you can live on the higher dimensions of life in your consciousness. Some of you do this part of the time, and some of you are learning to do it more and more, and I commend you for it. We never do condemn you for any shortfalls, for any so-called mistakes. We only love you and are always here to help and to guide you. Your teachers and your guides are with you at all times. Though you do not see them with your physical eyes or hear them with your physical ears, if you will take time to learn how to hear them with the inner ear and to know the impressions that you receive are coming from your teachers and guides, that is given to them from higher beings, that is given to them from God. You see, there are many, many dimensions of life, and you are expressing, even while you are in the physical, on these other dimensions, according to the level of your consciousness, according to your vibratory rate. You are influenced by that which you think. The type of thoughts that you think tunes you in to that particular level, that particular dimension. And there are those dimensions close to Earth that are not of light and love. They are of the darkness. And when you think fearful thoughts and have angry thoughts, confusion, then you open the door to these lower levels of beings that dwell on these dark realms. I do not say this to frighten you, because it is your choice, and no one can make you do anything that you do not want to do. Yours is the freedom, my dear ones, but the influence is there, and when you open the door with your thoughts, then you do open the door to certain dimensions. And this is why it is important to learn how to keep your thoughts high, to keep your thoughts loving and beautiful, even though the experiences around you that you're having do not appear to be beautiful and of God, even though you are going through troubled times, as you would think of it. These, my dear ones, are opportunities. This is what you came to this dimension to have, is opportunities that most call trouble and problems. We repeat these things, and you have heard this many times, but we repeat them so that you do not forget, for it is easy for you to forget and blame others, to blame the world conditions for your trouble and problems, for your unhappiness, and sometimes your depressions. I tell you, my dear ones, you create the conditions in your life with your every thought, word, and deed, and you can create heaven on earth while you are still in the physical body. You have the power that is of God. Let me repeat this. You have the power that is of God, for you are made in His image and likeness, and you can use this power in a destructive way or in a constructive way, a loving way, and you are continually using this power, for life force is flowing through you, and with your every thought, word, and deed, you are expressing life in one of these ways, in a way that is loving and that goes with the grain of life, or a way that is fearful and goes against the grain of life. When you think thoughts that are against the grain of life, this creates a condition in your memory banks that is held there until you release it through knowing the truth and understanding the truth and changing the pattern. The greater emotion that you give to a thought, the more power it has, whether it is on the plus side or the minus side, as you might say. When the reading from this particular book, it was impressed for Donald to read this to help you to understand that there are many ways of making contact with other dimensions than the physical. And this group of people made contact with the devas, as they call them, that work with particular plants or trees. These are angels of God, that God has commissioned them to do this particular work. And this group of people came into this incarnation to bring forth this understanding and to create this place so that it could bring about a greater understanding to the populace of this planet. Not too many know of this, but a few do, and many have traveled to this place called Findhorn and have seen the results of perhaps cabbages that weigh 50 pounds and other foodstuff that was grown almost out of rock and sand. But these individuals learn to work with the devas and draw from the source, straight from the source, the power to produce and manifest these things in unlikely conditions, to prove to you that all things are possible to those who can believe. And I say this to you in the greatest of love and power, that all things are possible to those who can believe. As you learn to believe in life, as you learn to know that you're much more than the physical body and your mind, these are just instruments that you are using to manifest through, to reach these lower dimensions, to have these experiences. As you learn to know that you are a divine being, an eternal being, that are using these instruments, the mind and the body, then can you learn to make contact with the reality of your being through the power of God and God's love. God's love is the key to all things, as your teachers have told you. God's love is the way out of these lower dimensions. God's love sets you free from your misunderstanding and gives you the freedom to know the truth of being that is above and beyond this physical plane of illusion. There are many, many things that can be said to you. There are many, many things to learn and to understand. And as you move through each day, my dear ones, give these things that we say to you in these times of making contact on what you call Wednesday evenings. Think on these things. Consider them. Accept them as best you can. They are not completely pure in context because your language is not pure. And they are a little distorted because everyone has a different concept of what words mean. But as you learn to go within and make contact with the God within you, make contact with your teachers and your guides, and receive knowing and understanding, then can you receive more of the purity of communication from the God that dwells within you. You see, each one of you has a powerhouse that is so powerful that you cannot even imagine it. This powerhouse is the life force that you are, and it dwells at the center of your being. And it is as an acorn. Within the acorn seed dwells a full-grown oak tree, and within the center of your being is a spark of God that dwells, a full-grown God. As you understand and can believe this to be possible, then can you bring forth the love and the light that will stimulate this seed of God that dwells within you into expanding outward to your consciousness and giving you the light of understanding. But you do have to give up. You have to give up your disbelief. You have to give up your misunderstandings of life. You have to give up a lot of your human, so-called human qualities that are illusion. This does not happen overnight, and it does take study, and it takes time to go within to make this contact and listen to the still small voice that dwells within you. For I tell you, it is always speaking to you, whether you hear it or not. Not always in words, but in a knowing, understanding, impressions. If you are open, then you can find and hear and know, and you can learn to express the beauty and the joy and the love that God is while you're still in your physical body. Let us take the time at this time for you to ask questions and to make comments as you would. The subject tonight of divine love is one that very few truly understand. You have been conditioned and programmed to love on conditions. If you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. If you love me, I'll love you back. And if you don't love me back, then I'll discontinue loving you. This is the concept, more or less, of human love, which has nothing to do and is nothing about divine love, unconditional love. It is selfish love. It is thinking of yourself only. These may seem harsh words to you, coming from one who professes to be the master of love, but it is true, my dear ones. And you must hear the truth and be able to discern that which is of the light and that which is of the dimness and darkness of misunderstanding. Divine light is a symbol of understanding the real truth, the eternal truth. Do you have questions this evening or comments that you would make?
Yes, I have a question. When you were speaking before that people are looking to be fulfilled and they must reach within to be fulfilled. Let's say, for example, how would that change their relationship, say, in a marriage? If the two people are learning to be, I guess I'm talking about human love, and how would that, if you change the two, being fulfilled from within, how would that change that relationship?
How does it relate to unconditional love? Is this what you mean?
I think so.
Yes. In your physical play on the stage, there is a story of Cupid, and Cupid shoots his arrow into your heart, and you fall in love. My dear one, 90% or more of the time, these are karmic arrangements, if you understand the word karma. In other words, these are arrangements to get you together and make a physical contract with this individual to live with them and to love them. And it is an opportunity to grow. For most who go through the experience you call marriage are not compatible in a true spiritual sense. And this is hard to understand because at first you feel the love, and then when the honeymoon is over, so to speak, then you have a different kind of life. According to the individuals, some come to reap the true joy of love together, but they are few and far between. Realize that when you come together to live with another individual, that it is an opportunity for them to rub you the wrong way and for you to rub them the wrong way. This is speaking purely in your human terminology. But it gives you the opportunity to overcome misunderstandings from the past. Misunderstandings that you have in your consciousness. Some do overcome this misunderstandings, and some run away through what you call divorce. This is why there are so many who get divorced, because they do not find the true love as the Cinderella syndrome, you call it, the Cinderella story. It lasts for a little while, but then it fades because of the consciousness of the individuals involved. If you can work together in a spiritual understanding and stay together until you overcome the particular misunderstandings that rub you the wrong way, then you have the opportunity. And Donald, in his counseling, with marriage counseling, is impressed to say this to those who come to him thinking of divorce. If you truly want to grow in a spiritual way, stay together and learn to understand and to overcome this thing that irritates each of you in different ways. And then if you decide to go your separate ways, then do so. Is this something of an answer to your question?
Yes, but I guess then if you overcome these things, then I guess you wouldn't need to be together with a person that would rub you the wrong way then.
Well, this is a part of the play on the stage, you see, and it is a part of the illusion. For what you call love, and it is not unconditional love. See, what most people in the physical plane, when they fall in love, they can easily fall out of love because their love is on conditions. Their love is the condition. If I love you, I expect you to love me back. I expect you to fulfill my needs. And no one can do that for you. This is the illusion part of this. No individual can fulfill you, but the God within you can give you the understanding of divine love. And when you learn to express it and to understand it and to use it in your every thought, word, and deed, then you are fulfilled. And it is the bloom of love, is to express God's love, not your physical desires, not your physical needs. And let me go on to explain that your physical desires and your physical needs are a reflection of your true desire to be one with God. Does this help your understanding, my dear?
Yes, it does, Dave.
Yes. This is one of the largest illusions, as your teachers call them, on your physical plane. They are all opportunities. And when you can learn to rise above them and see with the inner eye, the spiritual eye, the truth of this, then can you know the truth, and the truth sets you free from being unhappy and depressed because the world does not treat you the way you want it to, because other individuals do not fulfill you in the way you expect them to. In truth, you have no right to expect anything from anyone. And this may sound wrong to some of you, but it is true. Everyone is an individual expression of God. No two are alike. But while you are on these lower dimensions, learning the lessons that are here for you to learn, you do not have, or I should say most do not have, the insight to be able to fulfill you. And if they did, it would be for a short time, and it would be an outer fulfillment. And the true fulfillment comes from within the higher dimensions of divine love and light. To some of you, these are new words that have no meaning to your physical understanding and your concepts of life. But if you will try not to close your mind to them and just leave the door open a little, and later on these words may come to you and give you greater understanding that will help you to fulfill your particular plan that you came to do in this incarnation. Are there other questions this evening?
I have a question, and that is to do with, I have a conception, and it may be an error, and that's what I want to clarify, that astrology does fit into our lives, but it fits in when we are planning our lives prior to incarnating, and as to their influence and effect on us, rather than as for some people it kind of smacks of fate and destiny, like almost like we have no control. And I don't feel that way. I feel like we do use astrology, but in a
way that is a tool for us to learn from.
Is that incorrect?
You are using the word astrology, and this is a reflection of the different signs, as you call them, astronomical signs that you have incarnated under on the date of your birth. And you do choose these particular astronomical signs or time of your birth in the physical to have certain influences on you to give you what you call trouble and problems, but we call opportunities. And this is not always true that they give you trouble and problems. There are times when they give you beautiful experiences. But it is, how shall we put this? Some live their life according to their astrology, according to what their reader of astrology tells them. This I deem to be a mistake, for we should make our own choices. You can look at your particular sign and see that it does reflect in your life, but you can overcome these influences from any astronomical sign. I'm using your language poorly tonight, but it is true, yes, but you should know that you do not have to be influenced by this. The influences are there, but that you can rise above them by knowing the truth of God's love and by knowing who you truly are. Does this answer your question completely?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be better then for us to help make other people's dreams come true? Yet, if we find ourselves in a situation and with people around us, and they have their striving, and each one has something that's more important to him than other things. And as we go along, we can help, can't we? I heard of a salesman, for instance, who wrote 5 letters a day. And as he went about his day, he tried to see what he encounters that would help the other person. And he made a lot of friends that way. And he didn't have to go look for orders that came his way.
Yes. You see, the love that he put out was returned to him. But you cannot change anyone else.
No, I know.
You can put out the love through communication in different ways, but it is still the other individual who has to make the changes within themselves. Even we, from these lofty planes, have not the right to interfere with your free will. And we can come to you on nights such as this and communicate with you about the truth of life. But it is still your choice to accept what we say, and even if you accept what we say, then it is your choice to put it into practice in your everyday life. Yes, you can help by being a channel for God to manifest through, and to be an example to be a light unto the world. And this one that you speak of, his job was selling, and he sold in love. In other words, he communicated with love, and the individuals who felt that love responded by giving the order. And if we could, in all of our work, communicate in divine love, that would solve all the problems in the world, so-called problems.
There was a book called Brewster's Millions, and the fellow had two grandfathers, each wanting him to like them best. And if they didn't, he had to get rid of the money that one grandfather gave him before he could get any from the other one. And the more he gave, the more came back to him. And he was trying to get rid of this money all the time. And the more he gave, the more he got back.
Yes, this is the law of life. As you cast your bread upon the waters, as you give out that which is true and divine, you receive it back multiplied many times. And if those who seek wealth, physical wealth, knew this truth, they could use the law in a little different way, because it is not physical things or money or power on the physical plane that fulfills you. It is the power of God's divine love that dwells within you that you can put out and manifest to the world, and then it comes back multiplied many times.
That is a true wealth in ideas, in love. What we call wealth is paper.
Yes. And it is another part of the illusions of your lower dimensions. Donald is thinking if someone would turn the air conditioning on, it might be more comfortable. Just leave it where it is and flip the switch on. Thank you.
I would like to kind of clarify to see if I understood correctly what you were saying before about a relationship. If I understood correctly, what I understood was that when a relationship is such that, you were talking about rubbing each other the wrong way, but when you enter into a state where you are sending unconditional love instead of the conditional one that we are so used to having here on this plane, what that does is then release you to either, and it'll be up to what happens with you as far as unconditional love, to either go on with the relationship in an entirely different aspect, or to release you to a completely different relationship, if that is what's in store for yourself, if that's what you planned for yourself. Is that correct or not?
Well, you have mixed this up quite a bit, my dear.
Okay.
But I do understand what you mean. You are saying you're using the unconditional love. Yes, you should always do this. But another part of this is how you react and respond to this situation that you find yourself in. And if you respond and react in unconditional love, and this is what you meant, then you can stay in the relationship or you can release it. Your heart will tell you, if you listen, your inner self that is divine has the answers. And it is not just taking you into consideration. It is taking both parties into consideration whenever you ask for guidance and understanding. But in the final analysis, you live in your consciousness. You do not live with this other individual. And in your consciousness, whatever happens, you can be happy or unhappy, because what makes you happy is not what the other individual does or does not do. It is how you think about it. It is how you handle it. And when you can see beyond the outer veneer of the physical individual and see the God within them, and know that God dwells within them, then can you know the truth and not be disturbed by the outer conditions. There are extreme cases, of course, when people are physically abused and continually verbally abused, that they should make the decision, if they cannot overcome this, that sometimes they should remove themselves from the situation. It is all an individual thing, and each situation is very individual. Did this answer your question?
Yes, you pretty much said everything that I meant to say, regardless of the words that got mixed up and all that. But I was thinking more of the positive part of it, in thinking that if I'm creating my reality, then it is what I have planned for myself, whether I'm conscious of it or not.
What you have planned is to overcome your karma, or overcome the misunderstanding about life when you come into an incarnation on this plane. And so what happens to you or around you is your opportunities. And some ask, what did I come to accomplish in this incarnation? And your teacher has told you there is a standard answer for that, and it is what you find right in front of you. In other words, it is what you find in your daily life. It is the things that rub you the wrong way, the things that irritate you, the things that disturb you, emotionally disturb you. These are the things that you came to work with. These are the situations that you came to overcome through understanding your divinity, understanding the power of God's love, and using it in these situations.
So if you come to a point to where it is no longer rubbing you the wrong way, and you are very comfortable in that, is it then time to look at other things? I mean, it's no longer the relationship, so that's, you've overcome that piece of it. How do you keep on growing if we are here to continue growing?
This is, you're speaking of yourself, of course, and you are doing this. You are moving higher in consciousness in the work that you do and how you handle the situations in your work, and coming to classes such as this, and moving out into different things. Do not allow yourself to be boxed in by any situation. Feel free to reach out and experience more of life. Do not allow another individual to tell you you cannot do this or that, for you are not a slave to anyone. You are accountable to the God within you only. This is expounding on your question, I know, but it gives me an opportunity to express a truth that is very important. Is this what you meant?
Thank you.
Yes.
I had a question.
Yes.
You were talking about relationships and the karmic pattern. I assume that also spills over into family. I'm sure it does.
Yes.
What are the responsibilities of a parent to their children?
Your responsibilities are to give them the best example of divine love that you can. You need to teach them discipline, for they come undisciplined, but you need to discipline them in love, not in anger. And most parents on your plane discipline in anger. They let a situation go until they are irritated to the degree that they are emotionally out of control, and then they blow up, as you might say, and that is discipline in anger. And all that the child receives is the anger, not the truth that you are trying to communicate to them. When you can have real communication with your child at their level and have their trust because you are loving them and demonstrating love, then they do hear you, and maybe they do not respond immediately, but if you continue to love and continue to communicate, it will be in their consciousness. Each individual that is born into the physical is a divine, eternal being that has had many, many other experiences before they were born to you or others. And they came to work out particular things in their life, just as you and everyone else. And so each baby, as you call them, are different because of the difference that they come to learn and to understand. And if a parent can reach within and make contact with the God within them, they will receive the guidance that they need to help that individual child, that particular child, in the way that is best for them. And it is not, let me see if I can say this correctly. You cannot always hold yourself responsible for the outcome. But if you have disciplined in love and communicated in love, then you have done, and I'm talking about the unconditional divine love, then you have done what you can do. It is still up to the individual entity, which you call a child, which is like the acorn. It is a full-grown adult in the process. And it is still their choice to take your advice, to take your example, or to not take it. Does this help your understanding?
Thank you, dear. I have a question. We have unearthed so many problems, so many negativity. And to enhance our consciousness, we need to be positive. It's so hard to do because we always have so many information about the negative things. We don't learn anything positive. How we can do this
You,
easier to start to realize more our consciousness.
you do it better and easier by making the contact with the God within you and understanding and knowing the truth of life. The trouble and problems are truly opportunities that spur you to take the action to go within yourself and make that contact with that divine part of your being that is God, and listen to that part, and to rise above the trouble and problems, the negativity as you call it, that is illusion. You do not have to be bound by this if you do not give it attention. As your teacher has told you, life force follows thought, and what you give thought to, you give life to. And if you look at the world and the conditions in the world and see only the negativity and all the trouble and problems, then you are seeing amiss. You are not seeing the truth. But if you look at the world and know that it is just a play on a stage, and that you have helped to set the props to give you the opportunity to know the truth from within and rise above seeing trouble and problems to seeing opportunities and to seeing God everywhere present, no matter what it appears to be in the outer. Judge not by appearances, but judge righteous judgment. And righteous means the right useness of the law. In other words, to see the divinity in all that is, for it is truly there. But when you are conditioned as a child, and maybe many lifetimes, to see only the distortion, the negativity, the bad things, so-called, then do you continue to just see that? Look through and beyond that outer condition that seems so bad, and see the true reality of life. See the opportunities that this gives many people, many individuals on your plane, to have that kind of experience and to rise above it and know the truth. It may take 10 months or 10 lifetimes or 100 lifetimes for them to see this and to rise above it. But in true reality, there is no time. Life is eternal, and God does not put a time limit, as you think of it, on anything. Does this help your understanding?
It seems to me that many parents forget that the children are entitled to respect, just as grown-ups are entitled to respect. And if they do that, they seem to get along much better.
Yes. Parents should not look down upon their children, but should love them. And love children, all children need love to mold and shape their thinking and their understanding and their emotions, so that when they grow into adults, they have the standards and the examples of divine love to go by, and giving them the respect as an individual expression of life is very important. So many children are told that children are to be seen and not heard, and they push them in a corner and not give them the time of loving and communication that is much needed for a child to grow into a functional adult, as your new terminology has come about.
They say many things to children that they never say to an adult. I mean, many people do.
That is because they are doing the best they can, and that they do not know any better. Do not blame others for what you see they should do, but just send them God's love and release them to God, and know that all things are working together for good. And if you were to say this, you would say in time. On your plane, time is I'm searching for the correct word to use. You use time to grow in. And when you start to school in the first grade, it takes a year. And so for that semester, you learn certain things. And then if you pass your grades, you move on to the second grade. And you see, this is using time to learn and to grow. And it is the same thing with other things besides academic schools. It is the same thing in living life. Are there other questions this evening or comments?
Yes, I have one question. Actually, to clarify what we had spoken before about relationships, you had mentioned that divorce sometimes is like a running away of one of the people. But isn't it in some cases the actual divorce, what starts an opportunity in itself where the people will start growing into other areas?
Yes, it is all an individual thing, as I spoke, and you must look at it as an individual thing. And if you have gone as far as you can go, and you cannot handle it anymore, then you as an individual must decide what you should do. And God does not condemn you for anything. You make the choice, and then you live with it and go on with other opportunities. And you may marry again, and the thing that happens so many times is that if you do not resolve your misunderstandings about how to relate to another, you attract the same kind of mate the second or third time around. The same kind of conditions that bothered you before, because you have not yet learned the truth about it. And when you do learn the truth about it, then you are released from it. Yes. This has been a very enjoyable time to be with you and to communicate with you in God's love. And it is our pleasure to be here. And I would have you think of not just this individual speaking, but of many, many others, your teachers and guides, many others who throng around this circle who did not have the opportunity to learn while they were in the physical these things that you are hearing tonight. And when they get to this dimension and look over their incarnation that they just came from, they see many opportunities that they did not take. And as they sit in these circles, they learn and they hear and they understand, just as you are doing. You are beautiful sparks of light, of God's light. Let them shine brightly, and let His love flow through you continuously. God bless each one of you, and good evening.
Thank you.